All right, guys, in the last story that, or the last few topics that I want to talk about kind of is that I feel they're going to shift the industry in ways that will be drastically different from what we've seen in the past is that it's kind of what I'm going to talk about now. Kenya Barris is in huge news. The Kenya Barris is in talks of launching a new studio with Viacom CBS where he'll be an equity partner. So that's pretty interesting because just in 2018, Kenya signed a $100 million 3-year deal with Netflix. So that means he would have to leave his Netflix deal early in order to move forward with his contract with Viacom CBS to be able to produce content for them, or with the new studio that he's doing, which is huge. I mean, become an equity partner. I don't know of anyone who has done that in the industry that has been known in my awareness of it. I think this is like a huge deal. So congratulations to Kenya on this deal. And I can't wait to see what's coming out with that. On the flip side of that, ABC actually lost Shonda Rhimes to Netflix over a $154 ticket to Disneyland. So if you are not aware, we did report about this, but in 2017, Shonda Rhimes signed a deal with Netflix to produce exclusive content for them, but for between $100 to $300 million deal that she signed with Netflix. We don't know exactly how much. It doesn't matter. She got the coins to produce exclusive content for Netflix. And with Shonda Rhimes doing that, she did say that the pace and the constraints of the network television had become too stringent for her life. She felt like she was dying. She explained, like, I had been pushing the same ball up the hill the exact same way for a really long time. So that was the only information that we got out at the time as to why she left ABC. It has now come out that her breaking point was because she asked for an additional ticket to Disneyland, which is $154, so that her sister and her nanny could take her children to Disneyland while she was working or whatever. She was busy doing something, and they gave her pushback on that. And so when they finally, decided to give her a ticket to go to the park, her sister still was not able to use that additional ticket to get into the park, which is one of the perks of working with Disney and being a part of this big conglomerate. Anybody who works for in corporate America knows you get certain perks. So this was a perk that was added on, but she just asked for an additional ticket on top of her perks, and apparently that was a problem. It was so much a problem that the ticket did not work when her sister tried to use that ticket to get into the park. With that being said, Shonda picked up the phone, called around, like, hey guys, what's going on? I'm not able to get into the park. My sister's not able to use this ticket that you guys gave her. And the executive came back to her and said, don't you have enough? And for that, we're going to take a moment of silence. The disrespect on so many different levels that this woman endured by just having that statement brought to her is a slap in the face for all the things that Shonda Rhimes has done for the ABC network. And she said that was her breaking point, her last straw, as to why she decided to take the deal with Netflix. I have no words for that. I mean, and to be completely honest, am I surprised? Being that I've worked in corporate America and I've worked in the industry before, I'm not surprised by this at all. And I'll tell you some horror stories that I've had about, I won't name any names at this point, but just working with some network executives and things like that, the pressure, I don't even know if it's pressure that these people are feeling or what. Maybe it's the pressure. Maybe it's just because, I was treated this way, so I'm going to treat you this way. And who do you think you are? I'm bigger than you. Whatever it is that goes on within the industry, I'm not surprised by this behavior and that they talk to her this way. Actually, I am surprised they spoke to Shonda Rhimes. I mean, I'm surprised and I'm not surprised, right? On one hand, I'm surprised because all the things that Shonda Rhimes has done for this network and who she is and her stature and her, the bomb shit that she's done. On the other hand, it's kind of like, it's to be expected. I don't know. I'm going to move on from that before I say something. Yeah, so we finally found out why she left and went to Netflix. And some of the produced shows that she's going to be coming out with should be hit Netflix soon. So I definitely will be reviewing that, and we'll be talking about that later. Another gripe. So we're going from positive to negative, positive to negative. Now we're just going negative, negative, negative. All right. The next story up is Dave Chappelle boycotting, asking people to boycott the Chappelle Show. So this was huge because, as you know, Dave Chappelle currently has several of his specials on Netflix, right? The reason why this is huge is because back in the day, prior to streaming, HBO, if you wanted to see a comedy special, if you were a comic that wanted to make it, HBO was this place that you need to be. Your special needs to be on HBO, whether that was comedy, whether that was documentary, whether that was TV shows, whether that was whatever you want to, whatever. HBO was a spot to go. It still is. Don't get me wrong. It still is a great platform to be on. But Netflix is kind of came for HBO's jugular when it comes to the heavy hitters of comedians today, right? So one of those heavy hitters that they were able to snag was Dave Chappelle. So with that, they gave Dave Chappelle this huge deal. However, recently they decided to stream the Chappelle Show on Netflix, right? I found that interesting because I know the backstory of the industry a little bit, right? I know some shit. And one thing I knew for sure around this time that Dave Chappelle did not have was in his contract was streaming rights. So for those of you who are not aware, basically I knew that Dave Chappelle was not going to get paid for the Chappelle Show being on Netflix. However, I did not know into the depths of that, right? So one particular thing, so the writer's strike happened in 2007 and 2008. The Writers Guild of America striked because they wanted to be compensated for new media. New media means streaming. They knew streaming was going to be the new platform in the coming years. Although, the big Netflix and all that, they also came out, and Netflix and Hulu started streaming in that same year. So basically the content that you see on TV, writers would get paid for, producers would get paid for. But if that were to move to digital, writers was not a part of that. People, they were not being compensated for those deals. So those of you who are not aware, so what happens is that these big networks, take CBS for instance, they have original content being produced at CBS. However, if a Netflix will like a CBS show, they will say, hey guys, can I license this particular show XYZ on my platform? Okay, sure, Netflix, you can do that, but you're going to have to pay us X amount of dollars in order to stream it on your platform. So money is being exchanged for content to be streamed on Netflix. With that being said, the Chappelle Show, Netflix did pay a fee for the Chappelle Show to be on Netflix. However, Dave Chappelle, because the Chappelle Show came out in 2003, 2014, way before the Writers Guild strike happened, in his deal, he would not get paid for that show being on his platform. And little did I know, he also was not going to be getting paid because he didn't get paid at all. He didn't get any credits for or get paid at all for that show, the Chappelle Show in general. So not only is he not getting the streaming benefits for his show being on there, but he's not getting paid at all, which I didn't think that was the case. I thought just maybe the copyright or like the streaming aspect of that he was not going to get a percentage of that particular portion of it, but he's not getting paid at all for this. So with that being said, Dave Chappelle specifically asked everyone to boycott the Chappelle Show on Netflix as well as other streaming platforms where the Chappelle Show is being shown. Netflix is not going to want to be on Dave Chappelle's bad side, basically. So of course they're going to, negotiate and take it down. Also, HBO Max took the show down as well. So Dave Chappelle's request went through. I thought that was pretty dope. I think it's really sad, and that goes to show how the industry is. Bad contracts, not knowing. Go check out Dave Chappelle. He'll go into the details as to what happened to him and why he signed the contract and things like that. But unfortunately, this happens all the time in Hollywood. And another story that happened, because this particular person knew her worth and what she wanted and what she valued, is Michaela Cole. She actually turned down Netflix recently. It was a $1 million deal offer for her hit show I May Destroy You, which is currently now streaming on HBO. So Michaela Cole decided to not go with Netflix as her host for her show I May Destroy You because she asked for a percentage of her show and Netflix didn't want to give it to her, basically. Mind you, this woman created the show, she wrote the show, she directed on the show, and she starred in it. Like, this is her baby. This is her everything. And it's similar to Dave Chappelle. Like, pay this woman. Like, if this is what she wants, you know, give it to her. And they did not want to do it. So I'm going to read a quote that specifically came from Michaela's mouth at the creative diversity experience that she was at, and this is via Variety. And this is what Michaela Cole said. She said, it wasn't just a check. I needed to know what was behind the check and exactly how things were operating. So I guess I began to question. I think that's the difficult bit, daring to ask questions. That wasn't easy. But then the minute you begin to ask, you realize that the answers aren't clear. For me, then it was very easy. And I felt incredibly empowered. Cole continues, keep asking questions and watch people stutter. I begin to enjoy it. I begin to enjoy realizing that they thought I was just going to take it and then begin that, surprise, bitch, I'm not going to take it. And then actually, I was really empowered. So that was a direct quote that she said. And that goes with anything that you're doing within this industry of broadcast television creativity is always ask questions. Know your worth. Get what you want. I think prior to going to meetings, whether you're going on a job interview, whether you're working at a big corporation, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Always know your worth and go in knowing what you want. Write it down on a piece of paper. How much money do you want? Or what is it that you want for this? Or what equity or and always ask questions, because people are assuming that you're not going to come to the table. They're going to feed you breadcrumbs and they're going to continue to feed you crumbs if that is what you are going to take. Like, why would I give you more if you're willing to just take the crumbs that I'm willing to give you? You know? So I just thought that was really dope of her, and the fact that she moved over to HBO and she got what she wanted. All in all, I just wanted to kind of bring these different examples of Kenya Barris, his movements of going forward. Shonda Rhimes, how she knew her worth. She decided this is what she's not going to take. Dave Chappelle standing up and being vocal for the things that he doesn't want to do, as well as Michaela Cole standing up for herself and the things that she's not willing to take in this industry as well. So I thought these 4 stories were great turning points, and hopefully examples to show people who want to be in this industry, who are currently in the industry, to use your voice, stand up for what you want, and go for it. All in all. So with that being said, guys, if you're watching me on YouTube, thumb this video, give me a thumbs up. As well as leave a comment below on any of the topics that we talked about, whether that is the pandemic, the hits of the movie theaters being shut down, what movies you watched at home with your kids and family, as well as the Black Lives Matter movement and the aftermath of Ava DuVernay's LEAP project and Michael B. Jordan's In the Color of Change, #Hollywood initiative, the Quibi being shut down after a few months of being open and launched, crazy, and Kenya Barris, Shonda Rhimes, Dave Chappelle, again, and Michaela Cole's story.